This journey is rarely a straight line. It is more akin to a cycle of advancement, regression, and renewal. It mirrors the hero's journey described by Joseph Campbell, where one must abandon the familiar, endure the trials of the inner wilderness, and eventually return reborn. In psychological terms, this is called the liminal phase, the middle space, where you are no longer who you were, but not yet who you are becoming. It is a state of ego death, where the mask you wore to survive childhood and social pressure begins to crack. While this feels like a crisis, it is actually a biological necessity. During these periods of transition, the brain's default mode network, the area responsible for your self-narrative, becomes highly active. Your mind is literally trying to write a new story for your life. If you repeat a new narrative with enough emotional intensity, it eventually embeds itself as your new neurological truth. Belief is not just an abstract thought, it is a repeated pattern of neurofiring that has become so familiar it feels like reality. This is why transformation requires radical honesty. You cannot inhabit a new version of yourself while lying about your current state. You must be willing to sit with the ugly truths, your fears, your resentments, and your avoidances. This honesty isn't about self-punishment. It is about debriding a wound so it can finally heal. When you stop rejecting yourself and start understanding yourself, the energy you used to spend on suppression is suddenly freed up for growth. Many people struggle because they view self-improvement as a form of self-attack, a way to fix something that is broken. But deep psychological change is actually about integration. It is about reconciling with the parts of yourself you have disowned. Procrastination, for example, is rarely about a lack of ambition. It is usually a protective shield against the fear of judgment. When you greet that fear with curiosity instead of shame, the need to procrastinate begins to evaporate. Research shows that self-compassion actually downregulates the amygdala, the brain's fear center, allowing the prefrontal cortex to take the lead in decision-making. In short, being kind to yourself makes you biologically more capable of change. The most significant revolutions are often the quietest. They aren't found in grand public declarations, but in the tiny micro-moments of a Tuesday afternoon. It's the moment you pause before snapping at a loved one. It's the choice to say no to an old habit that no longer serves you. Each of these moments is a vote for your new identity. Eventually, these small victories accumulate until the old version of you simply fades away, replaced by someone more authentic and grounded. You begin to realize that you haven't just changed your habits, you have changed your frequency. You no longer tolerate the same toxic conversations, you no longer think the same self-limiting thoughts. Ultimately, transformation is not a destination you reach, but a state of being you inhabit. It is a spiral where you may encounter the same old lessons, but you meet them with a higher level of wisdom and less reactivity. As Viktor Frankl famously noted, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This internal evolution is the only thing we truly control. It is the process of remembering who you were before the world told you who you should be. It is the realization that you don't need to become extraordinary. Being conscious and awake in an ordinary life is extraordinary enough. So, if you feel lost in the in-between right now, understand that the confusion is part of the architecture. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. Stay present in the transition. Your life is not a series of endings, but a continuous initiation into greater depths of being. You didn't just survive your past, you evolved through it. And the conversation between who you were and who you are becoming is the most important dialogue you will ever have.
There is a particular quiet moment that eventually arrives in every person's journey. You find yourself standing before a mirror, looking at your reflection, and realizing that the individual looking back isn't quite the person you intended to become. It isn't necessarily a feeling of failure that weighs on you. Rather, it is a subtle, haunting suspicion that something essential has drifted away. There is a discordance between your current reality and your latent potential. That specific instant, that uncomfortable blend of sudden clarity and internal friction is the true birthplace of transformation. We often mistake change for an external event, like a new job or a relocation. But genuine evolution is a silent psychological insurgency that begins deep within the mind. It is less about doing new things and more about dismantling and reconstructing the very lens through which you perceive existence. Real internal shifts do not occur in a flash of lightning. They manifest through a slow, often painful process of self-inquiry and the endurance of doubt, spaces most people spend their entire lives trying to bypass. Psychologists have long mapped this territory. Carl Jung referred to it as individuation, the lifelong task of gathering the scattered, hidden fragments of the psyche into a cohesive, functional whole. Abraham Maslow viewed it as the climb towards self-actualization, where a person finally begins to blossom into their full capacity once their basic survival needs are met. Yet, beneath the academic jargon, the core truth remains elegantly simple. Transformation only truly ignites when the agony of remaining stagnant finally outweighs the terror of the unknown. Most people never reach this threshold by choice. Instead, they exist in a loop, reenacting emotional scripts written during their formative years. Their lives are guided by an invisible framework of beliefs inherited from family, culture, or early trauma. These convictions, I am not capable enough, success is for others, or it is far too late to change, act as psychological boundaries that define the perimeter of their world. The psychology of growth begins the moment you stop obeying these walls and simply start noticing them. Awareness is the primary act of defiance against a conditioned mind. Once you witness the pattern, you are no longer its prisoner, you become its observer. Science now supports what philosophers have sensed for centuries. Through the study of neuroplasticity, we know the brain is not a static organ, but a dynamic, living landscape. Every time you deliberately challenge an ancient belief or opt for a different reaction, you are physically reconfiguring your neural circuitry. You are weakening old pathways and forging new ones. In the most literal sense, transformation is neurobiological construction. You are the architect of your own gray matter. However, this leads us to a difficult paradox. We crave the result of change, but loathe the discomfort required to achieve it. In psychology, that friction isn't a sign of error, it is a sign that your brain is being dragged out of its habitual grooves. Your ego resists because its primary function is to maintain a predictable status quo, even if that status quo is making you miserable. This resistance is often mistaken for laziness, but it is actually a biological mechanism known as homeostasis. When you attempt to act in a way that contradicts your established self-concept, your mind creates a sense of unease to pull you back into alignment with your old identity. This is why most New Year's resolutions fail. People try to change their behaviors without changing their underlying identity. If you view yourself as a disorganized person, you may clean your desk today, but your brain will subconsciously recreate chaos tomorrow to match its internal image. Real transformation is an identity project. It requires you to move from "I am trying to be disciplined" to "I am the type of person who values order." Once the self-image shifts, the behavior follows without the need for constant, exhausting willpower.